Welcome to Conversations with Terry McBride. This is the fifth video in this series that I'm putting together, and it's called You Are Not Alone. Now remember, as you watch these videos, I encourage you to get underneath the ideas being discussed, get underneath the concepts. Send these videos to your friends, watch them over and over, and just explore these ideas. And notice whether there's anything you think you might be able to use to improve the quality of your life. Now these videos build on one another. The second video was called Who Do You Think You Are? That idea that we need to step away from believing that we are our past, we are our history, we are our story, and to be able to come to our life from this idea that we are unique spiritual beings, and we have the right and the authority to create our lives the way we want. The third video talks about consciousness creates reality. And the idea there that there's a split, that some people don't think you can really change the things that are going on. They think you can just change your opinion about the things. And where I chose to come from in my study as I was exploring these ideas of choice, this idea of getting well when the doctor said you can't get well, that I chose to go to this idea that consciousness creates reality, that there's something I can do in my creative mind that would assist me to have what I wanted. And then the fourth video was called The Freedom of Choice. This idea of really exploring, are you free to create the reality that you want? Or is there some bigger plan out there that you're supposed to follow? So moving from those videos, we now move into this one called You Are Not Alone. While this idea of me studying these principles of choice was going on, I want you to know that I still believed in doctors. I still believed in the surgical procedures they were advocating. I still believed in the antibiotics as far as getting rid of this infection in my spine. But I also knew that there was a part that I needed to play if I was going to begin to create the life I wanted. In my book, I talk about it. I moved to this idea, if it's to be, it's up to me. But when I did that, I felt this tremendous burden. You know, how am I supposed to do this? Who am I to create a reality where the doctors say the chances of me getting well are 1,000,000 to 1? But I knew I had to start somewhere. I had been studying, and I finally told myself, if you are really going to begin to apply these principles, you need to get a system and start right now to use this stuff, to apply this stuff, rather than just studying and thinking about it. But as I mentioned in previous videos, I was right in the middle of what I called a list book cycle. You know, the list. You got to do the 7 this, the 8 this, the 9 this, the 15 this. And I was just getting overwhelmed with, there just seemed to be too much for me to do. So as I wrote out, so where am I going to start? What I decided was, I'm just going to start to take more control over what's going on around me in my everyday existence. And the first thing I did was put a sign on my hospital room door that said, be positive or be gone. And what I noticed as I put that sign up, that when people came in to visit me, we no longer spent time with me with my hands stuck on my forehead talking about, oh, ain't it awful? Because I had decided to be positive or be gone, as I encouraged the people who came to visit me to believe that, what I found was I began to do that. And I spent less time in my story, the drama of my life. The next hospital stay, I brought in a poster that somebody had given me that I looked at once in a while, but I really didn't put it up on my wall. But finally one day I decided, if I am going to be committed to taking charge of my life, it's all right for me to put this poster up. It was about 3 feet long and a couple of feet wide. And what it said was, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And then there was this picture of this big ugly guy with a club over his shoulder. And down at the bottom of the poster it said, because I'm the toughest I'm the toughest guy in this valley. And it raised a few eyebrows. But again, it represented to me a commitment that I was making about myself, that I was not going to buy into this, what other people were telling me. And again, because of that poster, it seemed I got more support. People gave me more books on what I might do. People gave me articles. There was a woman who gave me a cassette with songs on it, like You Never Walk Alone by the musical Carousel, the song Climb Every Mountain from The Sound of Music, a cassette with songs that were empowering. And I used to listen to those songs. After everybody would leave, I would play them over and over and over. And again, I noticed that when I made a commitment, I found support for that commitment. And then somebody gave me a quote by a fellow named W.H. Murray. He was a mountaineer back in the 1930s. And the quote was on commitment. And I have it in my book. And it says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, a chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. And that truth is the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that never otherwise would have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no one could have dreamed would have come their way. What it spoke to, as I read it over and over, what that quote spoke to was the idea that when I commit, then providence moves too. And I looked up the word providence, and the word providence means the idea that wisdom, that care, and the guidance of divine will come to you. The idea of providence was outside influences come into play. It even spoke about divine intervention and luck. And so I began to read that commitment quote over and over to remind myself that I was not alone. It wasn't just me alone in this quest to begin to take charge of my life. That when I committed, providence moved too. And so what I decided was I was going to begin to believe in this idea that providence moved too. I was going to begin to surround myself that spoke to I was not alone. This is not pie in the sky stuff. I mean, it's been talked about in all the great scriptures throughout history. Jesus said, fear not, for I am with you always. The great Hindu teachings speak about then when one steps forth boldly, then the universe moves to support you. That idea that I've seen on posters that we put in our mirror, the universe awaits my intention. And so I decided that what I was going to do was to begin to build a belief that I was supported, that I was not alone. And so I wrote what I called a statement of being. And every morning and every night I would read that statement of being and pretend that it was true. My statement of being, which is on page 291 of my book, The Hell I Can't, it says this: as I move into this time of creation, I feel the power of something bigger than me moving with me, supporting me, empowering. I am beginning to know that all things are possible. And as I explore how I'm going to create the life I want, I will notice this support and acknowledge it. I know that I do not have to figure this out all at once. All I have to do is begin right where I am and consciously choose to move toward what I want. My life is not one problem after another. It is now a time of discovery and creation. And out of my own being, I am beginning to feel the joy and freedom that comes with knowing that I can create reality. As you move on this journey, to begin to be what we've talked about, the writer, the director, and the star of your own movie, know as you move into this, you are not alone. You are supported. As I've mentioned in previous videos, all of those who have come before you are sending you their love. They're sending you their encouragement. They're sending you their energy to step up and start now to be the creator of your life. Imagine, just imagine what it would be like if you began to feel the truth that as you move into this time of creation, you feel the power of something bigger than you supporting you. You feel the power of that infinite presence encouraging you to take the next step. Imagine what it would feel like to begin to own that as you begin to create the life that you want, you notice this support and acknowledge it. It might be your favorite song showing up. It could be just the smile of a child. For me, many times it's a white feather to remind me that I am not alone. You are loved. You are empowered. And you are supported by this infinite power, no matter what you call it. It is done as you believe. And as you continue on this journey of creating the life you want, know that you are not alone. Not only are you this unique expression of the divine, not only do you have the right and the authority to begin to use these tools of choice to take charge of your creative mind, your imagination, not only are you free to create your dream, your way, but as you embark on this, you are not alone. You are supported. I encourage you to take a pencil and paper, a pen and paper, and write out a statement that supports you, believing that you are not alone on this journey. You're empowered. You're free. And there is an infinite presence in the universe, essentially saying, you pick the game, and I will play with you there. Remember, you're not alone. I send you love. I send you joy. And I send you power.